v'merchavia min hamitzar karatiyam Anani v'merchavia Ozi v'zimrat yad Vayehi li Yeshua 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 Ay 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 Ya 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 da da dum ya 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 dum ya da da ya da 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 ya ya da da ya da da dum ya ya da da ya da da Yai da da da, yai da da, yai da da da, yai da da da. Boker Tov, good morning. The sun is shining yet again. The last 2 days have felt like, well, the first one felt like summer, but maybe spring for yesterday and today. I don't know, all the kids are out there with shorts. Not that they don't wear shorts in the winter. We've already discussed that. But they're out there with their shorts on this morning. I'll just have a sweatshirt with it. I don't need a jacket. We got to have outdoor recess. It's like a totally different place and space was unlocked. Never realized how much recess matters. And I think after this kind of cold, usually schools have the kids outside even if it's freezing out there, not literally freezing, but there's a point weather-wise that they still go outside, bundle up, we're going outside as long as we can. But there's been a lot of indoor recess for a long period of time for these kids, especially because the snow, whether the temperature was okay or not, the snow covering the ground, it was just impossible for them to be outside. So yesterday was outdoor recess, and Ellis was thrilled about it. He thought it was the most amazing thing. And I was like, well, it was amazing in the beginning of the year. You just don't even remember it. It feels so much better just to be outside. There was, the windows. I opened the windows yesterday, which is not my thing. I'm usually a heat or an air conditioned person and not a lot of heat. But I had the windows open yesterday evening and then overnight and this morning, and you can just hear, families taking walks and kids playing outside, and there's nothing quite like that. And so let's get to business. We got some wisdom to learn. We got some things to connect with. And so we are in a double Torah portion. So what does this mean? Essentially, it means that a couple of times a year, the Torah readings come together. And it's not because this is a double this year, next year it won't be. It's based on the way the calendar falls out. So this happens to be Vayachel Pekudei. And so we're going to pull them apart in the 3-part series that we've basically been learning toward, and that's the format we've been following. So today, we'll talk about Parshat Vayachel, when the community gathers again. So being part of a kihila, being part of a community. So it opens with a simple but meaningful moment. The Torah tells us Moses gathered the entire community of Israelites. The Hebrew word vayachel means to assemble or to gather together. And while it may seem like something so simple and logistical, like this, that's a detail, it comes at a very important moment in the story. So let's rewind. Last chapter, last parsha, the people had experienced their lowest moments, the moments of the golden calf. Like, we messed up. Fair? Trust had been broken. Tablets had been shattered. The relationship between God and the Jewish people um, had been strained. And now Moses gathers them all together. Not just a few leaders, not only the righteous, but the entire community, the whole kahila. It was, we will gather together. And this moment carries an important message. Like, after failure, the Torah doesn't like scatter the people and say, forget about you. You did this and you did that and you did no. Instead, it was a place to gather the people, because healing rarely happens in isolation, and we know it. In order to heal, you need to be in community. In order to heal, you need another soul, at least one, to help you through. And it happens when people come back together, because they reconnect, they build and rebuild trust. They remember that this bond, this covenant, is something that was shared. And what does Moses ask them to do once they're all gathered together? He invites them to help build the Mishkan, the sanctuary in the wilderness. But the Torah emphasizes something important. The contributions are voluntary, right? We touched upon this a few readings ago, that your contribution is voluntary. If your heart is moving you to do it, then that's when you should bring an offering. And if it's not, it's not. But it was gold and silver and copper and wood and textiles and oil. Each person brings something different. Precious materials, skilled labor, time and energy and effort. But everything comes because someone can offer it. This teaching is, the beauty of this teaching is it talks about community. So you'll notice it feels redundant or repetitive, but when something matters, it's worth repeating. And that's the same thing for Torah. There are parts where, what are you talking about? We're back at the Mishkan. We're back at, putting people together. We're about bringing your talents and your gifts. Yes, it is worth repeating because it happens multiple times. But sacred spaces are not built by one single person. Some lead, some create, some support, some show up quietly and faithfully, but each of those parts matter. In fact, the Mishkan becomes holy not because of what it's made from, but it's because who made it makes it what it is. And that sanctuary, that portable sanctuary, reflects the generosity of the people, their creativity, their willingness to contribute, their desire to build something meaningful together, which is reassuring, because we sometimes imagine that holiness requires this extraordinary individual, one or two or a group. But Vayachel, this portion, suggests something different, that holiness grows when ordinary people bring their gifts together. Not one person builds the Mishkan, but the community does. Perhaps this is why the Torah begins this portion with gathering. Before the work begins, before the materials are collected, before the sanctuary takes place, the people must first remember that they belong together. Community comes before construction. Connection comes before creation. And so this teaching feels meaningful. At least for me, it does. There are ways to remember what sustains us, right? Family, friendship, congregation, community. They all exist because people continue to show up for one another. Sometimes visible, sometimes in quiet ways, but always in ways that strengthen the whole. That's the importance here, right? Bring what you can bring, and we'll be stronger because of it. Vayachel reminds us that sacred community is not built all at once. Nothing happens in a vacuum, and we know it. It's something that grows over time through generosity, through participation, through hearts that are moved to contribute in whatever way it is. Every act of care adds another piece, another layer, another dimension, and every offering becomes something that's part of the larger something. So we ask ourselves, where in our lives do we experience the power of community? And what gifts, large or small, do you bring to the communities that sustain you? I'll start you off. You come here. Here in the screened community, here in our in-person community, you bring your presence to us. And without your presence, we wouldn't be doing what we do. That is your gift. Thank God. And thank you. You have other communities. Your work environment, your social connections, your whatever it is that you do that you love. What gifts do you bring to those communities that sustain you? Parshat Vayachel begins with gathering, and that gathering becomes the foundation of everything that follows. When people come together and open their hearts, something sacred becomes possible. May we continue to gather. May we continue to contribute. May the communities we build together become a place where holiness can dwell. We are one human family, one heart of abundant love. We love you. We thank you for joining us this morning, Geneva and Linda, Bet, others that are watching that haven't checked in, because I'm looking at, as usual, the numbers are here, but the people haven't checked in. We love you. Please know that you are part of our sacred community as you bring your gifts of self to us. May we continue to build together a place where holiness can dwell. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 Ora Avinu Chai. Have a great day, everyone.